Hey, this is Michael Lindsay from Vital MX, and today we're going inside Carson Brown's 2022 AEO Powersports KTM 250 SXF. First off, what is AEO Powersports? It's a large chain of dealerships that sell KTM Husky gas based in Arizona, and a kind of flagship store here in California in the Murrieta area, right near KTM's headquarters. They are one of the #1 selling dealerships in the country. And the owner, Jeremy Schism, decided to start a race team this year due to some of the wonderful backing that he gets from KTM. Getting into the bike itself, this is what KTM likes to call the current platform, not the old platform, but the current, while Volan is on the new incoming factory edition. So the reason that Carson and his team are on this bike is mostly parts availability and some of the components they were able to run on this bike by not having to wait for the new machine. Carson was actually a fill-in rider, so he hasn't had a terribly high amount of testing time, but from when we've talked to him, he said this is the best 250F that he's gone to race so far, and there's a few main reasons for that. Number one, the suspension package on the bike. AEO has an in-house suspension arm known as REP, which is headed up and owned by Mark Johnson. Mark Johnson is the ex-Red Bull Factory Racing KTM US 450 Supercross suspension guy. Basically, he was Dungey's guy at one point. Mark has a great reputation, and when he decided to depart the full-time travel and nut schedule that is involved with working for a race team, he ended up opening his own suspension company, partnering up with Jeremy, and now they have their own in-house suspension arm, which basically allows, in this case, Carson and the team to have access to a factory level suspension guy. They do run WP's Pro components. The exact fork and shock is basically very similar to the works version that we see on the factory KTMs, the main difference being the tubing. Instead of the 52mm all aluminum fork that we see grace the factory Red Bull KTMs, this bike has the consumer 48mm version that me or you can go out and buy. And the biggest difference is that it has an aluminum upper tube and a steel lower tube, like pretty much any production fork that we see out there right now. The shock is also Exact Pro technology. A lot of people still call this the track shock, even though the track system really isn't in it like it was a few years ago. Now it has a high and low speed compression adjuster that we've seen for a long time now, and the track system has sort of been replaced by a split low and high speed rebound system that is somewhat similar, but also at the same time very different in how it internally works. With that, they also run their own linkage design. It's their own link arm and bell crank the Mark has designed in-house, and the leverage ratio on it is quite different than the production consumer version, requiring a couple rate different spring rate and a different valve stack to really go with it. The controls on the bike are provided by Renthal. They use the production Brembo braking components on this bike, and they also use KTM's publicly available version of their factory split trip clamp at the standard 22mm offset. The exhausts on this bike are provided by FMF. This version of the exhaust is basically a replica of what they were running with TLD just a couple years ago when FMF was still partnered with the TLD team when they were on KTMs. This also goes along with kind of their engine package in general. The official word is that this is an AEO Racing engine. Well, AEO doesn't have an in-house engine guy. The clutch covers say factory KTM Racing on them, Hinson. Same clutch covers that we used to see on factory Red Bull KTM motors of this generation last year. We're just gonna leave it there. You can put two and two together pretty quick and figure out what we're alluding to. Overall, it's a pretty cool first year program. It is, once again, from the outside looking in, a dealership running a race team. It is a program full of very experienced people running extremely high level equipment and giving a bunch of young and up and comers a great chance. With what we've mentioned about the team, it's pretty easy to see why they have garnished a good amount of industry support, and expect to see them around the sport for many years to come. Thanks for checking out the inside look at Carson Brown's AEO Powersports KTM 250 SXF. If you like this feature, make sure you give us a thumbs up, subscribe, the whole 9 yards so you don't miss any more of these. We also have a slew of these up about factory teams, satellite teams, support, privateers, the whole 9 yards. We've got a bunch of these in the store this year. And if you want to learn more about what the race teams are changing every weekend, the latest up-to-date tech, make sure you check out Pit Bits on our website at vitalmx.com. It's up every single race weekend and brings you what is new from the paddock. And thanks again for watching, and stay tuned for more.